Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, where today we're going to be looking at the Infinite Warfare Zombies. We're going to be doing sort of like a review on it. We're going to be looking at some of the cons and pros of the map, and just going to talk about my own personal experience and what I think is good and bad about the map. So first off, something that not a lot of people have actually been talking about is the magic wheel, aka the mystery box. Now, the reason I've got sort of an issue with this is because this just doesn't have that many great weapons in it. The weapons that are inside the mystery box is actually quite bad. For instance, you can get like sniper rifles, which obviously they're fairly good for the game and everything, but like every other gun in this map, if you get past scene 30, they're not going to do any damage. So you got sniper rifles, which in my opinion just aren't that powerful after about round 15. You got the axe, which is pretty cool and everything, but again it just doesn't really do that much damage. But the main point I'm trying to make here is basically there's no point hitting the mystery box. If you pack up on your starting pistol to make it the explosive pistol and then you get bomb stoppers, as well as on top of that to go ahead and build one of the wonder weapons, you're basically going to be set for about as high as a round as you can survive. What I find with the magic wheel on this map is the fact that it doesn't give you that many great powerful weapons, and most of the powerful weapons are actually wall buys. So in the time that I've been playing this game, I've got about 2 days playing time in this now, and in my own opinion, what I found is that guns like the Volk, the NV4 and the ERAD, all wall guns, are actually pretty powerful, and they're more powerful than guns that I've been able to get out the magic wheel. Now I was hoping they'll do something a little bit similar to Treyarch, where they did have OP guns on the wall, for instance like the M8, and they also had the KN44, but they also had super OP weapons in the box like the Haymaker, the Brecci, the BRM, etc, etc. These weapons were pretty OP, and you wanted to make sure you hit the box a few times in Black Ops 3 Zombies just to make sure that you actually got one of these OP guns. So in Black Ops 3 you had the monkey bombs and the Letalanis, for instance. In Infinite Warfare Zombies, the only thing you got close to this is the boombox, and to get the boombox you have to construct it via the coin system. This is great and everything because you can construct it in 2 different ways to make sure that you actually get them, but there's again no reason why you should hit this mystery box. And because of that, this makes this whole mechanic on this map, to me personally, quite useless. Again, I don't really hit the mystery box unless there's a fire sale on the map, and 9 times out of 10, I don't even take the weapons out of the box because I think it's pretty useless. So the next thing I want to talk about is the storyline. There's nothing really to talk about. Alright, so the storyline is almost completely nil. That is almost nothing. There's the fact that we have Withered Wider as what we believe to be the devil. I'm pretty sure he sold his soul to the devil. We have a tiny bit of backstory of Withered Wider as well, with the Disco Devil and Midnight Summer, which are previous films that he has directed, as well as a few other posters around Spaceland as well. And we have the intro cinematic to the actual Zombies in Spaceland map itself, but we don't have any other storyline information apart from that really. Like, within Zombies in Spaceland, when we do the Easter egg, which is something else I'll be talking about in a minute, when we do the Easter egg, we get no storyline information whatsoever, and it just makes me think, what exactly are we doing the Easter egg for? So far, we get the what's called the Soul Key, which is again sort of like feels a bit like a copy of the summoning key from Black Ops 3, especially when that summoning key is used to collect souls. But anyway, the Soul Key. We get this after completing the Easter egg, but there's no actual like storyline information as to how we got up to this point, why we defeated aliens, even though I guess it's Spaceland Park or whatever. But either way, there's no storyline information of why we were actually killing aliens, why there was a UFO, what this Soul Key was actually used for, and probably something that most people would notice is the fact that there was no ending cutscene. Now I know this is their first map, this is like their Naktor and Toten, and compared to Naktor and Toten, this map has a lot more features in it. Naktor and Toten was very simple, very plain, but again that was based off of nothing that was off of their imagination, whereas Zombies in Spaceland obviously had like 24 other zombie maps to sort of think about and try and compare with. I digress a little bit, but basically there's just not enough storyline of this mode so far. We don't have any audio quotes within the map. We don't have really anything. Like, before I played Zombies in Spaceland, I knew just as much as what I do now. There was literally, as far as storyline goes, there is no information that I've gained from playing this map. Now, the Soul Key is going to get explained in further DLC because this is an important artifact that we picked up from a UFO that dropped out from the first Easter egg that they ever made. Of course, they're going to make this something that's important and like bring it back in other maps. But so far, we just don't know that much, and I just hope the storyline will sort of bring up as the maps progress. My next issue about this map is the fact that the wonder weapons and the normal weapons in general are just trash. Like, the normal weapons we'll talk about first quickly. So, like I was talking about with the mystery wheel, so I won't go too long about this, but basically most of the weapons in the map aren't that powerful, and even though after the patch they had recently that was making these weapons a bit more powerful, Given in the arc attachment and when they pack a punch, they will be more powerful than they normally are. However, you get past about scene 35, 40, and these guns are just going to be completely useless. You have double tapping them as well, or bang bangs I should call it, but you have bang bangs as well, and it's still just going to be absolutely useless. Now I know this because I don't actually go for high rounds, or I haven't gone for high rounds yet on this map. I will be soon enough. But whenever I see high round guys like Emulsify or Steve or the London Project or anyone else doing high rounds in this map, they always use a very similar technique, and that is basically using the traps around the map to just kill the majority of the zombies. The main strategy I see them use is the one that you go around the alligator trap, and then when you get a horde just run through it, because it's a free trap, so you run through and it kills the zombies, and it's probably the quickest way you can do it. Another strategy I see is the journey into space, so it's on the other side of the map, and basically they just train around again and they pay for that trap that like sort of spins around, and again kill the zombies like that. But again, they're using the traps rather than the weapons, because the weapons are very trash at about around 40 plus. And this also then leads into the wonder weapons, and the wonder weapons are better than the normal weapons, but as far as wonder weapons go, they don't really deserve to be called wonder weapons, especially the Forge Freeze. I don't actually know if that's classed as a wonder weapon. But the Shredder, the Discord, the Face Melter and the Head Cutter are all pretty bad wonder weapons when they're against normal zombies. The only one that I'd exclude from that list would be the Head Cutter, because before the patch, before the Brute was actually weakened down, the Brute was obviously really powerful, and I heard at about round 60 plus, the Brute was so strong it would take about an hour to kill him, yet the Head Cutter still at that point was able to kill the Brute in a matter of seconds. All you had to do was basically get his helmet off by whatever gun you needed to use, and once he takes his helmet off, you just shoot some zombies around him, and what this Head Cutter does is it actually makes the zombies explode and their limbs explode, and then that obviously gives a lot of damage to the Brute, and then the Brute would obviously die. Apart from this one weapon used for this one boss on this map, they're all pretty trash, and I just hope that in future maps the wonder weapons will just be a lot better, and they'll feel more like a wonder weapon, because at the moment they're all pistols, which is fair enough. Then the ray gun was a pistol, for instance. I just want them to be a lot better, that's all. Now each character in this map have their own unique melee attack. Even the Hoff apparently has its own unique melee attack, which I've never actually seen. I've not actually done the Easter egg myself, so I couldn't tell you what his melee is. However, even though they have their unique melee attacks, the issue that I have with this, and I think the issue that most people have with this, is that even, again after the update, again after the patch, the meleeing is so bad. I mean, you go up to a zombie and you like melee it, and you can move back a little bit, but you still go up to a zombie and you melee it, and you're gonna get hit at least once. If you go up to a group of zombies and you start meleeing them, chances are you're gonna get downed, because the zombies hit super fast on this map, and that's one of the reasons why this map is pretty difficult. But because they hit super fast on this map, the meleeing just isn't that effective. What I normally try and do is get Slappy Taffy and try to melee the zombies, but then what that normally ends up is me getting down, because the zombies, again, they swipe too fast, and when you're surrounded by at least 3 or 4 zombies, the likelihood is you're gonna get downed. I just want them to fix the meleeing so that it's more like Black Ops 3 yet again, with the fact that you can melee, but you can also move back, or you can like melee and then move on rather than lunging into them 9 times out of 10. Now I know that they did fix this was a lot worse a week ago, but it's still pretty bad, and the meleeing is sort of something I try to avoid just because it's gonna end up getting you killed. And the last con I want to talk about in this video before we go on to the pros is the Fate and Fortune cards. Now very quickly I just want to go through this one because it's pretty simple. Basically, you got all the Fate cards, almost all of them are useless. You got Scope to Dollars, which is pretty useful sometimes. Basically it gives you more points per sniper kill. The Fortune cards, you got a few that are pretty good, but about half of them at least are pretty useless. You got cards like Rising Phoenix, which is the Phoenix Up equivalent from Black Ops 3, but the problem with this is when you revive your teammates, they don't have the perks, so then they'll just go down again because they're very vulnerable. And it's sort of a waste of a card, because what's the point of reviving them from the card when 9 times out of 10, again, you can just go up to them and revive them with Quick Revive and they're all good. And it was a bit quicker with this card, but they should definitely be revived with their perks. I don't know why it doesn't revive with the perks. Now there are a few fortune cards that are actually pretty OP. For instance, you got like the black hole gun that you can use for 30 seconds, or the F-Spar, which is like this laser gun that you can use for 30 seconds as well. You've got something called the Claw, again use it for 30 seconds. Those type of cards are actually pretty fun, and they're also really good to use. But I don't know, there's just something about these fortune cards that just don't seem right. Other than the fact they all look the same, they got the same background, which I wish they would sort of change it up depending on the rarity or depending on how much they used or something like that, sort of like how Tracker did with the green and the blue and the rest of the colours they did with their gobble guns. But other than the fact they do look the same, There's something about half of these fortune cards that I just don't want to use because there's not really any point using them. However, this can be fixed fairly simply just by introducing more fortune cards as the DLC go along. As you get DLC 1, 2, 3 and 4, hopefully they'll give us 4 or 5 new fortune cards per DLC, which will just keep things more interesting. And I'm hoping they'll bring up some good and interesting ideas as well for the fortune cards, and I hope they aren't copies from Black Ops 3. Okay, so that was some of the things I didn't like about this game mode. We're going to go on to some of the things that I do enjoy about this game mode now. Infinite Warfare Zombies is great for the first reason that we have the perk limit of 5 perks. Whether you're playing solo or co-op, you always need Quick Revive and Juggernaut. Like they're 2 perks that you're always going to want to have. I always find Double Tap is also a necessity, as well as being able to have Stamina up. There are 4 perks from Black Ops 3 that I always like to run, and obviously we have them in Infinite Warfare Zombies as well. So Up and Adams, Toughen Up, Bang Bangs, and Racing Stripes. But I also like to run Bomb Stoppers as well, because when I pack a punch my starting pistol, obviously it's an explosive weapon. Bomb Stoppers just basically like PhD, where it prevents the explosive damage, therefore you won't die whenever you shoot this gun. Now they're just the 5 perks that I like to run, but obviously I like to run all the perks every now and then, just try and switch up the game. Sometimes I'll run like Speed Cola, or try out Blue Bolts, or do Trailblazers, or whatever perk I just fancy using that day. But it's so good that we have 10 perks, because already in this map we have more perks than we did in Black Ops 3, and every single one of these perks as well are accessible by a perk machine. Whereas in Black Ops 3 we had half the perks that just weren't there in the map. We had to get them via Easter egg or via a gobblegum. Now the next point I want to bring up is the fact that this map is pretty good, but also that the game mode itself for Infinite Warfare Zombies has a bright future. What I mean by this is that they can go wherever they want with the storyline, and because going back on one of my points I said earlier on in the video about the fact that they just don't have much of a storyline so far, they still have time to sort of work around that. What I think they're going to do is have different stereotypes per film or per DLC that they're going to have. The characters are going to get sucked up into each map, and each map is going to be a different location, and it's going to be different settings. So this one, for instance, is like a fun sort of theme park type of map. They could have different genres, so they could have horror, they could have thrillers, comedies, romance, you know, whatever they decide to go for. Now half of those I don't think would work for zombies, but some of the ideas I think would work for zombies. I think horror would work, it would be one of the ones that would work, but another one I thought would work as well would be action. So I was talking about it in the Radio Premise podcast actually the other day when we did one last week, but imagine an action set. So basically you're in Hollywood and you're on this set, and these actors from that time period, I'll use Arnold Schwarzenegger as an example. Say Arnold Schwarzenegger's there with like Danny DeVito, say, and they're doing a new like action film or something, and it's going on one part of the map, or another part of the map they'll have like say racing going on where they have like cars racing down the road. I don't even know, there's a lot of things that they could do, and that's just one idea that I had, was basically an action film set in Hollywood. I've also thought about a Wild Wild West sort of thing. I saw Conan Pizza talking about this, but basically it'd sort of be like a Buried style theme sort of thing. But if they brought back a map that was in the Wild West, sort of like how Buried was, that would be pretty cool, because I really liked Buried and I would like to see their take on how they would do the Wild West type of film. But I really hope they take the time into thinking about the characteristics of these characters. I really hope they give them different stereotypes. I hope that they give them different eras to go into. I wouldn't like it if it was all in the 80s basically. I want to see different maps from different places and different time sets and everything. And I just want to see what they can basically create, and I want to see diversity more than anything. And the reason I say this has a bright future is because this map alone is absolutely fantastic. I would give this map an 8 out of 10, so it's got a great future. The DLC hopefully will be just as good, if not better. As much as I don't want to admit this one, Infinity Ward has a better interaction with the audience than what Treyarch did. Treyarch were pretty useless when it came to interacting with us. They talked to the YouTubers like Mr. Rothwaffles, with Noah, with Dalek, etc. But when it came to you and me, when it came to just the average person who'd like to play their game, they didn't really have much of a communication. When it came to us asking them to give us more perks, we asked them from the very start. We asked them in Shadows of Evil, okay, Widow's Wine is a great idea, it's a great perk, we love it, we want to see more. We then got Electric Cherry returning, but then we saw nothing else. We saw no new perks. Why, Treyarch? I still don't understand why you didn't just listen to us. We told you from the very start we want new perks every single DLC, and it all comes down to the fact that they just don't listen to us. As much as I love Treyarch, they don't listen to us. Infinity Ward, however, they have listened to us. And not only with like perks or anything, I mean the fact that they made Banana Colada into the game as Trailblazers was pretty awesome enough. But whenever we have an issue with the game, we tell them on Twitter or whatever, and then they go ahead and they fix it. They fix that issue. They fix the issue with the Solo Afterlife arcade. They fix the issues with the brutes, with the weapons, with the perks, with a lot more issues. With a lot more that we've complained about, they've gone ahead and they've actually fixed the issues, and the game's only been out for 2 weeks at this point. 2 weeks and they fixed most of the things that we complained about. The Easter egg was too hard because the alien had way too much health, for instance, so they lowered the health of the alien. Whereas some people may think it's a good idea to have a high health with the alien. I think personally it's a bit better because there's a lot of players out there who just aren't as good as these YouTubers, like Noah J for instance, who still struggled with the Easter egg, by the way, even though he is a pretty decent player. So the average player out there aren't going to be able to complete the Easter egg, so it's good that they lowered the health just for those average players. And talking about hard Easter eggs, this Easter egg in Zombies in Spaceland is definitely the hardest Easter egg I've ever done on any Zombies map, ever. I mean, like, seriously, I still haven't completed it. I have tried it multiple times. If you are subscribed to my channel and you have been since the game came out, you'll see how many times I've tried this Easter egg. I've live streamed it a multitude of times. Solo, I've attempted it a few times off a stream, but I've tried it so many times, 2, 3 and 4 player on stream, and every single time I've died. I've got to the alien boss fight probably about 4 or 5 times now, and again, every time I died. This is so difficult and I don't actually understand why. I've tried it solo, again I died. I do believe solo is the way to go. I believe solo is just easier because you only get the 1 alien to deal with, whereas in 2, 3 or 4 player you got 2, 3 or 4 aliens. Either way, it's just such a difficult Easter egg. I actually love it because it's just keeping this map alive at this point. And there's something in me that sort of wants this Easter egg to carry on being difficult. And I want the other maps, the DLC maps, to also have very difficult Easter eggs to not only figure out but to also complete. Because then it feels like you've accomplished something. Revelations did not feel like an Easter egg that I worked for. It didn't feel like something I accomplished. Because once it was figured out, I did the Easter egg first try. This Easter egg I've tried legit probably about 20 times and I've died every time. And the very last point I want to make in this entire video, guys, I know it's been a long one, but basically I want to bring up the point that I love this game mode, I love this map because it has so many smaller Easter eggs and there's still a lot to find as well. Just like Shadows of Evil, they've had a lot of time to work in this map, so they've been able to put in the time, put in the effort to give us loads of smaller Easter eggs, and a lot of them you probably wouldn't have even noticed. Everything from something so small in the Afterlife arcade with the aliens that you shoot are actually the same aliens as from Guitar Hero 3 because they're both by Activision. So it's a little nod back to some of their old games, similarly to how the arcade machines have like Pitfall and some of the other games that Activision created way back in the day. To the Easter eggs at the extreme, I would call the Ghosts and Skulls Easter egg probably sort of like a super Easter egg because you have to complete the main Easter egg to then go ahead and do the Ghosts and Skulls Easter egg, which again I haven't done because I've never done the main Easter egg. But this map is just riddled with Easter eggs and I just love it because there is still more to find even after the main Easter egg. I know Track did the same as well, but I feel like this map has more Easter eggs, more like smaller Easter eggs than most of Black Ops 3 maps. Again, like most of the other points I've made in this video, I hope that a future DLC will include a lot more smaller Easter eggs as well because they're always something fun to figure out, they're always fun to try and go ahead and do yourself as well. But anyway guys, I'm going to wrap up the video there. I know this has been a long one, but I just basically wanted to give this game a little bit of a review because I've played this game, like I say, for about 2 days now. I've got a total of about 48 hours game played, so I know a little bit about the map now. And I just wanted to review it for you guys who don't have the game, who are thinking, should I buy it, should I not, is it a good game mode or not? I would say it's definitely worth it, but listen to the points that I've made and probably watch some other videos as well to get an idea about what this game mode is actually like. But anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video then go ahead, leave a like rating, comment down below and subscribe for more zombies content, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace out.